Hi guys, I'm back. It's Andrew Ace. You can find me online at UYS999. Today I'm talking about Brian K. Vaughan. He's a comic book writer. His credits actually extend a bit beyond that, but for now let's just talk about his comic book work. And let's talk about his, where have I got the stack right behind me, his work by Marvel and DC. There's one title that I did leave out in that last first segment where I talked about his sort of non-big two. It was another comic book he put out through Vertigo, which again, imprint of DC. It's called Pride of Baghdad. Again, a mature reader read. The art is incredible. The story is based on true events of a bunch of lions that escaped from the Baghdad Zoo during a U.S. bombing of the city. And I don't want to give away more than that. It's heart-wrenching to read. Just the only thing is people pick it up and be like, oh, lions, it's beautiful, I want to give this to my kid. And on some level, it would inspire so much creativity potentially, but it's also not a kid's story though, and you just have to keep that in mind. Pride of Baghdad, if you're 18, 21 and you want to read a non-superhero comic book that will blow you away, and it's only the one volume, it's done in one, check that out. So moving on to his Marvel and DC work. So Brian K. Vaughan did some work, and I don't have all of his graphic novels or all of his material here today, but you can get one graphic novel that collects a bunch of his stories. It's called False Faces, Batman, False Faces, and it goes through different issues, little storylines he's done, collects them all in one place. A fun read. It really, it lacks the overarching sort of greater plots that Brian K. Vaughan does so well. And also, and this is, no slight against editors. None, promise you. But you can feel his creativity really exploding and really just running wild when he's given a bit more room. A la Vertigo, Wildstorm, still DC, or Image. And I don't feel that as much sometimes with his Marvel characters. Another one that, a great graphic novel, it's like 13 issues, written by Brian K. Vaughan on Mystique, so Jennifer Lawrence fans, people been watching the X-Men movies, at the same time, and again, fun read, exciting, great art, but it's just a little too tied into the X-Men universe for me, given you sort of feel like, wow, what could have Brian K. Vaughan done with this character if he hadn't been trying to keep in mind all the other X-Men titles, the shared universe, which isn't, again, a bad thing, and that's why editors, you're awesome, but certainly, it's not Saga or Paper Girls. Still, if you're a fan of Mystique, check it out. Now, I got two more things in my hand, three more. So let me start with Doctor Strange, The Oath. I've spoken about this book before in a previous review, so I don't want to go over it too much, but with Doctor Strange coming out later this year, this is for me the best read if you want to know more about the character. Certainly, there's older books that collect the original material, and I'm not knocking that. I've got that actually on my to-read pile, but there is sometimes, for me, as much as some of the art can be crazy and psychedelic and groundbreaking in the 60s and early 70s, sometimes, the stories feel a bit dated, the characters feel a bit clunky, and, not everybody has to be a fan of Jack Kirby or, Steve Ditko or any of the early creators. You can still say, hey, I love Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. I think that's totally valid. And so, from there, where do you choose, and as the problem that movie creators have, where do you choose from the character's long history, from the many creators who've contributed, and frankly, often the characters got, contradictory facts, because again, this is 30 or 40 years, where do you choose? What slice do you take to inspire you in that movie? Well, I haven't seen the new movie yet, but this is Brian K. Vaughan. This guy does not do bad stories, and this is a phenomenal one. So if you weren't going to pick up anything else for Doctor Strange, at least check this graphic novel out. It was done originally as single issues, you can find out there as well. Now, before I get to my very last book, I got two here that is by Brian K. Vaughan. It's really one book. It's Logan, Wolverine, Logan. It takes place during World War II, And for that, again, I just caution viewers, readers, probably safe to say this is another mature reader's book. And it's illustrated by Eduardo Risso of 100 Bullets fame. I'm a huge fan of his, and that would be why I picked up also the black and white version of the story. So, just to give you a sense, Eduardo Risso, I mean, his artwork can be a little different. I first encountered him with Brian Azzarello on 100 Bullets, and I'm willing to say I don't think at first I fell in love with him. It took me maybe 3 volumes of 100 Bullets. At that point, though, I couldn't get enough. I now have a page of his that hangs on my wall. I've gone back and tried to find anything else Eduardo Risso's done, and you know, if I just hear his name, I'm going to go buy the comic book. To have him working with Brian K. Vaughan, boom, on Wolverine, even bigger boom. You know, it's not the most essential storyline to knowing Wolverine's history or anything like that, but again, it also means you can just pick up the one story, the one graphic novel, it stands alone, enjoy it, done. So, if you got a Wolverine fan in your life, or you're a Wolverine fan, this is the book to check out. Brian K. Vaughan, Eduardo Risso. Wait, so, Lost Up. Brian K. Vaughan. Actually, Lost Up I say. Before I finish, I should mention that Brian K. Vaughan did write on Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 8. I'm not sure which volume off the top of my head, and I apologize. But his relationship with Joss, I don't know which one came first, but interweaves certainly with the Runaways. If you're a Buffy fan, check out Buffy. I mean, I hate to say it wasn't that Brian K. Vaughan was writing that I was reading Buffy Season 8. He does, though, on this book, Brian K. Vaughan, a phenomenal job, and Joss Whedon actually came along in one of the later volumes, or for an arc, for the Runaways as well. Joss Whedon's written other comic books, Astonishing X-Men, so on, but to have these two creators kind of go back and forth and share their takes on each other's characters, if you would, is a lot of fun to check out. Now, what is Runaways? It came out a little while ago. The premise is there's a bunch of supervillains in LA, and they get together for their annual meeting on how to destroy the world, and their kids, who've always been meeting once a year, slowly growing up, don't really know who each other are, but do at the same time. Well, they discover that their parents are supervillains, and are going to destroy the world, and decide, hey, maybe we're not down with this. So they run away, try to stop their parents, try to save the world. There's a number of volumes, and this is actually a digest format. They've also released it in the general, regular trade paperback graphic novel. What can I say? Phenomenal characters, dialogue. You get emotionally pulled into the story so quickly. This is great for younger readers. So, I mean, I think it's probably saying, 12 and up. This is probably my favorite superhero work that Brian K. Vaughan has done. I'll probably stop this review and then 5 minutes later go, oh, I should have thought of that. But I know when I was getting back into comics, this was a series that I really hooked into. You can connect, obviously, back to your own teenage angst, whatever. But really what makes it so great is that in the Marvel Universe, we normally have Captain America, Wolverine, whoever, everybody's saving the day, as usual, against Ultron, Thanos, Galactus, whatever. But you don't have maybe the whole world as fleshed out. I mean, we've had the West Coast Avengers in the past, but this sort of explains why the West Coast is maybe a little quieter than the East Coast. It also, though, gives you a whole new group of villains who've been so good that they've stayed off everybody's radar. Like, that's the thing. They haven't been caught before. Nobody knows about them. And you discover them in the story. And, of course, they're children of their undoing. But this makes for something that you don't need to have read much Marvel previously. If you know Spider-Man and Cap, great. But you can just pick up this book, discover these characters, and go on their journey with them. So, anyway, guys, that's my review for Brian K. Vaughan. As you can see, I'm a big fan of his. Lots of books here. More that he's done that I don't even have. And what can I say? Read more comic books. So, I'll see you all soon. Take care.